You know, these days we often find ourselves tangled up in the middle of a tech-savvy conundrum, all thanks to AI. And at the moment, the million-dollar question that's knocking about the block is programming dead? This may sound as ridiculous as a cat trying to bark or a dog crooning to Mozart. But as absurd as it might sound, this riddle splashes the pool of tech enthusiasts, academics, and researchers. So let's put on our detective hats and dive into this abyss of curiosity. Once upon a time, way back in the late 1940s, a magical device called the computer was born. And with this miraculous contraption came the advent of programming languages. Programming was mysterious back then, as only a handful of digital experts could decode this enigma. At the same time, the rest of the world watched in awe and probably confused. There were no tutorials, Stack Overflow, or rubber duck debugging. These pioneer programmers were the original Hogwarts alumni. And like true sorcerers, they conjured up the internet, smartphones, and an array of digital wonders with their cryptic codes, changing the world one syntax error at a time. Fast forward to today, and coding has gone from a party trick for nerds to an essential life skill, like knowing how to change a flat tire or mastering the art of making the perfect cup of coffee. But even as programmers became the architects of modern society, the winds of change began to whisper rumors of a rebellion led by none other than machines. Rumor had it that these machines were learning to adapt, create, and potentially overthrow their human creators in a coup reminiscent of the Terminator, but with fewer shotguns and more JavaScript. So here we are standing at the crossroads of innovation and obsolescence. On the one hand, we have the traditionalists who cling to coding like a koala to a tree, asserting its relevance in driving technology and solving all sorts of pesky problems. They point out the surge in demand for programming gurus and the challenges that need the human touch. They're like the folks who still prefer to flip through the pages of a physical book in the age of Kindles, except their books are filled with Python, C++, and Ruby instead of Shakespeare and Hemingway. On the other hand, there are the futurists, the tech crystal ball gazers who envision a world where coding is an artifact gathering dust in the History Museum. They imagine a world where AI and automation sit on the coding throne, effortlessly creating software with no humans in sight. In this future version, code is a long-lost language, an ancient relic used by our ancestors before AI swept in like a futuristic knight in shining armor. Our developers are caught between these two groups, navigating the bumpy terrain of this ongoing debate, a bit like a tightrope walker with vertigo. This ain't your everyday Apple versus Android kind of debate, but a complex riddle that makes you question the very nature of human-machine interaction. Imagine a monarchy where technology has broken free from the shackles of coding, where the line between human and machine is as blurry as the line between Star Wars and Star Trek to a non-nerd. A world where creating software is as simple as telling Siri to play your favorite song or asking Alexa to switch off the lights. Forget the mind-numbingly complex languages and syntax. In this brave new world, you only need to outline your ideas in plain English, or Mandarin or Klingon, if that's your thing. Sound like a programmer's paradise? Maybe. But let's remember the heart and soul of the tech world, the programmers. What happens to them in this supposedly code-free utopia? Will they be relegated to the footnotes of digital history, like the VHS tapes and floppy disks of yesterday? Nah, that's not how our story goes. In this era, programmers evolve from code slingers to maestros of AI-driven systems, orchestrating symphonies of automation that make the world tick. Think less monkey typing on a keyboard and more conductor leading an orchestra. Their roles wouldn't vanish. They'd transform, adapt, and evolve from a Charmander into a Charizard. And like Charizard, they'd still be pretty badass. Now, as we've looked at the arguments predicting the death of coding, let's consider the flip side. Why might coding survive the AI revolution, despite the rise of no-code and low-code platforms? Let's explore this side of the argument. First up, despite the great leaps AI has taken, there are still limitations. Just like you wouldn't trust a robot to pick out your wedding dress or your first car, some tasks require a human touch, that spark of creativity, intuition, and problem-solving ability unique to US Homo sapiens. The day an AI writes a tear-jerking novel or a box office hit movie is the day we might consider hanging up our keyboards. Second, no matter how far automation goes, there will always be a demand for bespoke solutions, like there's always a demand for tailor-made suits or custom-built homes. The human programmer will remain relevant in crafting these unique, tailor-made applications. Lastly, even as AI grows, programmers' roles will become more critical, like pilots in increasingly automated aircraft. Programmers will develop, maintain, and optimize these AI systems. As tech continues to evolve, new languages, platforms, and frameworks are bound to surface like mushrooms after a rainy day. The tech world is no stranger to adaptation. With each shift, developers must acquire new skills, making coding more of a shapeshifter than a dying art. Today it's Python. Tomorrow it might be a language that makes Python look like, well, ancient Greek. This constant evolution tells us that coding isn't going extinct anytime soon. It's just undergoing a makeover. Another thing to remember is that while AI is terrific at many things, it still lacks the good old human touch. Technology serves humans and caters to our needs. It takes a human to understand another human's complex needs and nuances. And no, I'm not talking about when we can't decide what to order on Uber Eats. It's about designing people-friendly technology, like creating software to help the visually impaired see, or apps that make learning fun for children with special needs. This requires empathy, understanding, and emotional insight, things human programmers have in heaps, but machines must improve. Thus, we conclude that programming isn't dying. It's evolving, it's changing, it's growing. It's like your weird cousin who shows up at every family reunion with a new look and career plan. The rise of AI and automation, no-code and low-code platforms, and the evolution of languages will undoubtedly change how we code, but they won't kill it. Programmers, fear not. You have yet to be destined for the history books. Instead, you'll be the ones writing them, guiding the development of AI systems, and shaping the future of tech. In this brave new world, coding isn't a relic of the past. It's a beacon guiding us into the future. As we reach the end, remember this isn't an apocalypse, it's a rebirth. As we dive into this new era, let's not fear the change but embrace it. Strap on your goggles, fellow adventurers. The future of coding is here, exciting, unpredictable, and filled with endless possibilities. So, is programming dead? No way. It's just getting a facelift and a little personality change. But fear not, for in this ever-evolving narrative, one thing remains constant: the quest for knowledge, the thrill of innovation, and the sweet, sweet satisfaction of a bug-free code. And that's all for today. If you want to stay updated with the latest AI trends, insights, and amazing content on this channel, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. As we dive deeper into the boundless realm of AI, always remember that AI is not our enemy, but AI is our ally, guiding us toward a future of endless possibilities.